All right, Brian Bonilla, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right. I just celebrated my birthday this week. Um, so it was fun, man. 30 years old, you know.
Happy freaking birthday to you, Brian.
Appreciate
Well,
it.
we got a good present for you today, sir. We're recording here on a Sunday, right before the day before the championship March Madness tournament
Yeah.
for NCAA basketball.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's I don't know if are you a big like college sports fan?
I do like March Madness. I will say, all out of all the sports, it's the only thing I kind of tune into
Mm, mm.
every year.
Yeah, no, I like college. Like, I watch other sports more religiously, but I think March Madness is definitely a moment in time, every year.
For
And
sure.
I think everyone's playing around with brackets and stuff like that. And I think we have a fun little version of our own for this episode.
That's right. That is right. And also, I'll say this and the Super Bowl, right, are the two big things. And we
Yeah.
saw a lot of good ads
Mm.
for this tournament that have been running recurring frequently. I believe it's like up to $2 million ad spend for 30 seconds in this game tomorrow. I
Yeah.
could be mistaken there.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think you're on I think you're right. And um I don't know, I think like brands in sports has always been synonymous with each other, and I
Mhm.
think even more like especially with NIL deals being so massive now too, like it's not just like TV ads anymore. Like you're actually like I forgot what team it was, but someone has like there's like a trainer, like a utility person for a team that went viral, and then now he
Oh
has
yeah,
like an NIL deal.
yeah. Was it McNeese State? I believe
Yeah, yeah,
McNeese. Yeah,
so it's like it's crazy to think about that. Like there's this level of like connection now with companies and brands.
for sure. For sure. And then also so everybody's creating tournaments around, the actual basketball tournament. Like they're
Right.
creating these brackets, they're making their predictions. So this is where our idea came in.
Yeah.
And the idea is very simple. We want to create a bracket of some of the best agency taglines.
Taglines. Yeah.
So the name of this is March Adness Agency Tagline Tournament. And we hope to do more every single year, more brackets like this, different genres. But this year, to kick it off, it's agency taglines. And what were some of the parameters, Brian? Do you remember when
Yeah.
we talked?
Yeah. We're very creative over here. We got rid of the M. And the N, and we're good. Like, and we create our own thing. So, no, look, I think this was an idea that made sense, right? Because more and more agencies are being launched every year, and like we're thinking about like agency positioning, and kind of one of the biggest things of agency positioning is taglines, right? And like there's some famous ones out there, and there's some like new ones out there that
Mhm.
stick out. And we were just thinking it'd be cool to like kind of have a fun episode, just like pitting some of them together against each other.
Yep.
And the idea is, how creative is your tagline? Does it resonate with what your agency is about? How clear is it, right? Like
Mhm.
how clear is it what you're trying to get across? And yeah, does it like actually like show what what you're about? Is
Yep.
it true or not? And
Yeah.
that's
We,
the parameters. Yeah.
we made sure that the tagline, it's really just a sentence pulled from their website. That like if it doesn't, like, sometimes it's at the bottom, sometimes it's a headline. We're just calling it tagline. The parameters was it had to be on their website in some way, shape, or form. And if it's not on there, then we're not including it.
Yeah.
Um, so we looked at a good amount of them. I mean, there's 15,000 advertising marketing agencies in the U.S. alone.
Right.
So we looked back at some of like their past episodes on breaking and entering. We looked at the A list. We look at like just recent press and like top of mind as well, and we narrowed it down to 32.
Yeah.
We probably looked at, I would say, maybe 100 out of
Yeah.
the 15,000. So this is by no means like the best of the best. These are just some of those that are top of mind. And you caught the attention of two pretty important, I would say, people in this industry. you
I would say
know,
too. We asked our audience too, right? Like
yes,
we asked people to pitch in, and they came up with some that I wasn't aware of,
it's true.
so that's good too.
Exactly. So we crowdsourced some as well. had to be on their website. So now we're gonna be looking at, is it on brand with the name of the agency and their whole kind of like ethos? Is it creative and is it different? Is it differentiated?
And to be
So
fair, I think these are all creative agencies, right?
yeah,
So the other parameter.
yeah,
Maybe we'll do a media agencies one in the future or something like that.
yeah.
Maybe we'll see how this goes. But yeah,
Yep. And now when we get into this bracket, we'll just be going off the tagline and the parameters that we already said. Is it interesting? Just a tagline, none of their work, none of their like our views of like
right.
how we like the people or anything like that. I think people understand that, Brian. That's our disclaimer. And
Yeah.
do you want to say something about your
Yeah.
disclaimer?
Look, at the end of the day, like we're having fun, right? Like we're not, like I can already picture the text that I'm gonna get after this
Yep.
episode goes out. So listen, these are not the opinions of Ad Age. These are my opinions and Gino's opinions. And at the end of the day, we're trying to have fun with this. So
Yeah.
like, don't worry too much about anything that's said in this episode.
And I will say,
Yeah.
I'm going to call people out. Looking at some websites, look through a lot, like around 100. I
Mm,
think we cannot forget the importance of strong taglines and agency positionings. I've heard 350 plus in interviews, and sometimes I fall asleep. And like, let's not forget that I know we're all busy creating ads and branding for clients. We cannot forget the importance of your own agency's branding.
right.
It's and we like to celebrate good branding, and I want to push everybody that's listening to go to your own website and see, did we lose, did we not make it, what can we improve upon, and
Right.
get that very clearly put across. That's my call out. I think we all should take a moment to look at our own stuff.
Yeah, and I'll say like agencies are historically bad at marketing themselves, and it's
Yep.
ironic. But I did a story on agency websites and like how a different story on agency, like how they like are promoting themselves, and like we're just picking one aspect of that. But your overall positioning, like you're right, like we looked at so many websites that were very unclear and just like didn't really make sense given that we knew what the agency was, and we're like they're actually cooler than they're portraying
Yeah.
themselves to be, and so and look, there's more. Look with the LinkedIn pitches that are happening more and more now, and like marketers. I mean, consultants when they look at find agencies, they look at the website too. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's becoming even more important to have a good positioning.
You
So
know, I'm almost thinking back to like we stress so much on the aspiring advertising professional to have really good portfolios to break into this industry, that you have to show your best work, 5, 6 campaigns. Your about me section needs to be cleaned up. So why not demand that from agencies?
right, no,
You
that's a good
know,
point. Yeah, you're right.
so but we saw a lot of great websites. We saw a lot of great taglines. Now
Yeah,
we shall celebrate. If you made this, if your agency's on this, you should be happy. This is a big deal. And now we shall go to the share
yeah.
screen functionality of this. This is a free website creator. We have to give them a shout out. It's called Easy Bracket. They're
Nice.
not sponsoring this video, but it should be sharing now, Brian. It's probably really small. But what we'll do is we'll zoom in at all the positionings, and there'll be a graphic on our Instagram by the time that you're listening to this with all the positionings in this bracket on here. And I just went ahead and accidentally clicked one that won. So let me see. Be patient with me.
No,
Okay.
this is official. This is dope. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are 32 agency positionings, 32 agency taglines on this list. We can see stuff from Fortnite Collective Chemistry, Barkley Oak ERP. I won't read through them all because we're going to go one by one
Right.
through each matchup. And then Brian and I are going to pick the winner from these individual matchups until we get to the final round, the championship game.
Ooh.
So we'll be focusing in now, but I will start a timer, Brian, because not everybody has a million hours here, and to put a little pressure on us, I'm going to put it at 25 minutes. And let's go 30 minutes
I
on
think
the
we can
timer.
do it even under that. We'll see.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, 26 minutes. And it starts now, unless you have any sort of other comments, Brian, we can get into this bracket. How do you feel?
Look, I'm excited. I haven't like we chose these, but I also forgot which ones
I
we chose.
added some too.
So it's gonna be good. Like it's gonna be fresh. So no, I'm excited. Let's do it.
Okay. All righty. We are off. So the first matchup, Brian Bonilla, is Hero Collective versus Giant Spoon. Hero Collective is we turn brand into heroes versus the agency that stirs shit up by Giant Spoon. Here are the two. Which one are you thinking?
This is a good start.
Yeah.
Interesting. We turn brands into heroes. I like the like tying into your name aspect
They
of it.
both do that very well.
Yeah. I think, just off rip, like I'm leaning into the stirring one. Yeah.
Okay. I
What do you
I
think?
agree because I like that it has a swear word in it. It's a little bit different. It's Giant Spoon. It stirs shit up. It's a little provocative. Although these are all randomly selected as well. So
Well, I will say too, and like with Giant Spoon, like they do these like big experiential campaigns, and I feel like that fits what they do too. Which is interesting.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, now we got high dive versus standard practice. Let's jump is high dive, and what we do is nothing new by standard practice. And
Mm,
I have a favorite here.
tell
I think
me.
you know mine. Uh, of taglines speaking. I love standard practices. What we do is nothing new. It's one of the first ones that caught my attention on this show because I usually fall asleep during agency positionings, what they're all about. But the name is standard practice. This is nothing new. To me, that's so clear. And they don't, there's no smoke and mirrors. They're creating ad campaigns. They're coming up with ideas. Nothing new. So I have that as a favorite.
I would say you put me on to that one. I remember like when we spoke about it, and I like it because it's like um I think it shows personality, right? They're just like we're not afraid to make it clear, like we're like we are about this, like we,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? It's kind of like it feels like very intentional. On High Dive side, like I think they have an amazing website and like
Mm-hmm.
their entire ecosystem is great. I think if we're going just on tagline, I'm leaning more towards standard practice. I love the let's jump thing because it's like very welcoming and it like, it
Mm-hmm.
invites people in. But I would say overall, like High Dive is less about their tagline and more about their overall like
This it's
what
very clean. It's very inviting as well. But I feel like what we do is nothing new. Has to move on. Okay, so Mother versus TBWA. Now, Mother is making our children proud, and TBWA's is the disruption company, a classic, famous. They've been running that for years, Brian.
yeah.
Um, and when I was looking at Mother's website, they have like this AI chatbot, like this little baby that talks. The work that they do should make their children proud. Obviously, goes into the name Mother here, so it's pretty straightforward, pretty creative as well. What are you leaning towards here?
I'm thinking like I think disruption is like really strong in TBWA's like identity. I think the challenge is like I think nowadays everyone's using that word. It's not like their fault per se because they were like one of the original like agencies to really lean into this idea of disruption, but I think nowadays everyone's trying to say they're disrupting. So in a way, I feel like it becomes muddled up,
Right,
right?
but they did start it.
I
Like
know
they,
that's true. I know. I mean,
yeah.
oh man, I'm leaning towards Mother, but I'm curious what you think.
I I just think that it's so foundational to the company
Yeah,
that I'm gonna have to lean the disruption company. Thinking about Lee Cloud, thinking about LA, thinking about New York, and like that pirate mentality that they have. Um, and I believe it's ingrained in their creative process as well. Uh, is it different? It was. It was when they first came up with it. Is it creative? It was. Is it now? Maybe not so much. I don't know. But
it's hard. Like when you're like they're both really established agencies, right? And I think they both like this is one of those. This is kind of a tough matchup because like um I think both of those are very clear and like stick with their like branding very well.
mhm.
I hear your point. I could see the disruption company moving on.
All right, then it is.
Because I think yeah, like you don't have to always change if it's working, but there is that challenge for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And this one I clicked beforehand, so we'll move on to the next one. It is the first one here is this is a purpose agency, Oberland, and theirs is Make Good Money. And the other one is Quality Meats, which is nobody cares what you have to say.
Make good money versus nobody cares what you have to say.
Yeah. It's like the good money. It's like purpose, good,
Yeah.
good in the world.
Yeah, like Oberlin's a purpose agency. They've won Purpose Agency of the Year multiple times before. So yeah, what do you think of this one?
I think it'd make good money.
I like it too. I like that too.
It's got that creative twist there. So sorry, Quality Meats, love you all, but you did not move on. Next up, we got Inspiration is Everything by Bray and Co. versus Do Big Things by BBDO.
Why you have to say it like that?
Now, I think we got to go with what? Do Big Things?
I'm going with Do Big Things. I think their repositioning in a way is clean and it's good. I think it's solid.
What would win though? The work, or Do Big Things if they were matched up?
That's a different debate. And so people are clear. We did purposefully choose like current like taglines versus like overall, like, right? Because the work is very famous.
Yep.
I think they're two different like things now, right? Like the work is very clear. Like we're just creating big creative work, and I think BBDO is trying to lean into like be more than just being known for like good creative, right? And I like Do Big Things, man. I know work is like famous. I get it. It's iconic, but
yeah,
I like the simplicity of Do Big Things.
It resonates. It hits. It's a big company. They do big things for the big clients. Like it's a thing. So
I know you like the work one, man. I know you do.
The work. I mean, I want to steal that now. Nobody's using it.
Not using it.
All right. Next up, a thought-for-profit company. That's McGarrett Jesse versus Question the Unquestionable by Curiosity. Question the Unquestionable. So McGarrett Jesse is based in Austin, in Texas. Curiosity, I forget where they're based, but I think the play on words for a thought-for-profit company is it's really fun. It's clever.
Curiosity is in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
This is an interesting matchup because they're both like thought-provoking, right? Like a thought-for-profit company, play on words. Question the, what does that say? Question the
Unquestionable.
I like that one more a little bit. What do you think?
I think I like that as well.
Yeah.
This should be easier to see.
There you go.
All right. Question the Unquestionable beats out a thought-for-profit company. I thought it was a nice little quip there, but
it is good.
It makes sense. It's on brand with Curiosity, with the name of the agency. That's what I'm looking for. Is it very creative? Is it very different? It is pretty different. So moving on. Next up, we got We Make People Give a Shit, which is by Foul Mouth Creative versus No Gut, No Glory. Ooh, both of these are so on brand.
Some of these matchups are hard. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like both of these would have moved on in different matchups. You know what I mean? Like, ooh. I like the Foul Mouth one because it's like leaning into the, like, they're like a foul mouth, right? Like, it's like, it makes sense that they're cursing and shit in there.
But No Gut, No Glory.
Glory, man. I think it just like it's again very simple but clear. Like, you know what you're getting. You know what I mean? And that tagline is really clear about it. Like you get famous work when you work with Gut. Yep.
I'm
leaning towards Gut.
All right, me too. That's a tough one. Okay. Yeah. Anomaly, I'm not even sure if this is like their official one. And this is what I saw on the website that spoke to me. The name is the idea behind the company, Anomaly. And then Spreading the Good Word, Preacher. I think there's a clear winner here.
I think it's Preacher.
Yep. Spreading the Good Word. This is a really good one. I could see this one going pretty far.
It's a strong contender, man. It's a strong contender.
All right. Now we got another good one here. Creative Violence Solves Everything by Murder Hornet versus We Build First and Only Brands by GSD&M.
Yeah. Creative violence. I'm curious what that like. I gotta ask them about that. Like, what is creative violence? You know?
I don't know. And the other one that they have is like wake up and choose murder. I think so. They are just, their whole agency positioning is so strong for Murder Hornet. Like they took their time. It seems like they know what they're doing. But first and only brands, it's basically saying brands that are the best at what they can do. They're early to their market. They stand out. They're already differentiated, so it puts a nice filter on their positioning for their clients. So they know if they're not a first and only brand, then we're not going to probably be able to work with you all. So there's that built-in filter, which I also really like about these agency positionings.
Yeah, I like DSTM more. I think
Okay.
I question a little bit the creative violence. I'm curious what like. I would need to know a little more. Like, I think it invites you wanting more, but I think like I'm also like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
what do you think?
Both are pretty strong. I do think I'm like 50-50 on this, so I'm down to go with we build first and only brands.
Yeah. Shout out to Noel's company though.
Yeah. Okay, now we're getting into convicts, which is troublemakers for a better world
Mm.
versus culture makers, rule breakers by Verb.
Damn, this
These
is another tough matchup, bro. This is
this to me, the name is clearly. I think the lead for me is convicts because troublemakers for a better world. It shows some of their purpose in there, but also like it ties into that troublemaker convict branding. It's it's got the lead for me when it's a little bit smoother connection there.
I like, you know, I'm with you on that one. I think both are very good, and like they both fit what they do. But like, troublemakers for a better world, I think is, it fits their agency in the name, and
Yeah,
I
it's
like.
interesting. It's like you could also put verbs positioning on convicts, and it would still work. Like rule breakers, convicts. Um, so
It is very similar in sound, like two very similar sounding ones.
yeah,
I will say like Verb leans very much into culture, and they do like,
experiential.
big with the Airbnb, for example, and stuff like that. So that positioning also is very clear with them. You know.
Totally, totally. Okay, we fight invisibility by the Martin Agency versus Truth Well Told by McCann. Now we got some more legacy ones here.
Yeah.
A little bit. Some of these agencies have really strong positionings, but I personally just discovered Truth Well Told by McCann.
Mm.
I've known about We Fight Invisibility, historically speaking. Is that in our parameters, though? Do we talk about the history of it? Are we looking just at the tagline here?
It's hard.
Uh,
I think we should try to keep it to like the tagline, right?
yep, just the tagline. And obviously, I address those biases because it's just hard when we talk about this stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You know,
which one are you leaning towards?
they're both solid, and I think they're both talking about truth in some way, or like uncovering something in some way.
Hmm.
I like We Fight Invisibility because it's like the worst thing you could be probably is a brand that nobody cares about or knows. And that's but they're like, it leaves it open to be more than brands if you want.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Fighting invisibility doesn't only exist in like a brand way. So I kind of like that it's open ended a little bit.
Yep. It finds play into like also their hiring practices. It fits into that broader
Yeah.
approach. So let's go with that. Next up, we got A Safe Place for Brave Ideas by Arnold Worldwide versus Never Finished for FCB. I believe this is FCB globally. So
What do you think on this one?
I mean, neither of them really tie into the name, right?
Right.
Like in the
Well, it's interesting. These two agencies are founder named, or like, I don't know if like they have people's names attached to
Foot
them.
Cone and Belding,
Yeah.
Arnold. Yeah.
Um,
I
hmm.
like the idea of never finished. Like that's like a tattoo idea. It's a little bit bigger. Um,
You know, um, I think I'm leaning towards Never Finished.
yeah.
Um, I think
It's different from all these taglines that we've seen. It's just like it seems a little, it's pretty powerful when I'm
it
looking in the differentiation factor
when
here.
you put all them together, right? Like it is pretty strong, and I think
Hmm.
it's focused on like, we're gonna be dedicated to you. I think a lot of these taglines are focused on the creativity.
Mm-hmm.
FCB is kind of, even in a way, you could read it as like they're really focusing on like the account management and like client relationship side of it, which I think is interesting. Like you're never finished, you're never stopping,
Yep.
and like I think that's good.
Heck yeah. Okay. When the world zigs, zag. Classic. BBH versus We Fight Sameness by Zulu Alpha Kilo. I think we have a winner here, Brian. Shall we?
Yeah, I know you like the zigs. Huh? You like the zigs?
I love the zigs. I'm gonna over. Did you agree with that?
Fair. I
Okay.
think that's fair. Iconic tagline.
Yeah. We Create Modern Legends by Joan versus We Create Mass Intimacy. This is random. So we got two We Creates next to each other.
Yeah, that's interesting. And so that's for Goodby, right?
Yes.
Silverstein is the
Could be Silverstein and Partners. We Create Mass Intimacy versus We Create Modern Legends by Joan. To me, the Modern Legends is just a little bit more fun, like a little bit more interesting to me. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think like we haven't seen the word legends or like modern in like any of the taglines. So it's like very unique to them, you know?
Mm-hmm. We Make Good Work by
Mm,
A Company Creative versus Where Scale Meets Soul by Barkley OKRP. Now, A Company Creative is a purpose driven agency, I'm assuming, from this tagline.
yes, I believe so. And like I kind of like they use like a good use of like comma in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's two things, right? Like we make good work, like we make good like work for you. And
Yeah,
then we
yeah,
also make good work, like so
yeah.
I kind of like
That
that
play. It's a good
concept.
play.
Yeah. I
And
like
for that, it shall win. Everything's an Experiment by Chemistry versus We Help Brands Be Better Faster by Fortnite Collective.
Hmm.
Um, I think Chemistry takes this
Yeah, I
one,
think
Brian.
chemistry.
Okay. We have made it into the next round, Brian.
Let's do it.
All right, back from the top here. The Agency That Stirs Shit Up by Giant Spoon versus What We Do Is Nothing New, Standard Practice.
Damn. Uh,
It's going to get tough here.
this is where it's gonna get hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I'm sticking with standard practice. I think.
I think so too. I
Um,
just, I
mm,
mean, of all the, when we're talking about differentiation, it's the only one that acknowledges the self-deprecation that is just advertising, and that's so freeing to me.
right. But they're also saying like like we're like we're so established that it's like you know what you're gonna get from us. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah,
guess that like confidence
yeah, confidence.
resonates in the tagline. You
Yeah,
know,
let's run it. Let's run it. The Agency That Stirs Shit Up is great too for
I
Giant Spoon. Like,
I think that's good. It fits who they are.
yeah.
It's
So
a good
this
line.
is tough. All right, the Disruption Company versus Make Good Money. Now, this is not in the quantity of money, but the how you make money and that good, that purpose driven
Yeah,
portion of making money.
I think if you pair these two, I would go with disruption.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
All right. Do Big Things versus Question the Unquestionable
Ooh,
by Curiosity.
ooh, huh. It's hard, like, because these are both types of taglines that are meant to like go across the entire agency, right? So, like, I know curiosity, like, they use this idea of questioning things as like part of their like hiring and their like strategy and their podcast series and all that stuff.
I like Question the Unquestionable better.
Okay, let's do it.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's unique, like
And yeah, it's on brand here. All right, this is gonna be a tough one. No Gut, No Glory
oh
versus
shit,
Spreading the Good Word
damn.
by Preacher.
See, I think like we didn't talk about this beforehand, but I feel like you would have probably picked these two to go to the final four if they didn't. If they didn't
Really?
like, go,
Yes.
I think like
I got a winner. I know what I like better.
knowing who you are and your taste of things, like I feel like these are two of your favorites. So
Yeah. Yeah, these are up there. I have a favorite of these two, but I want you to go.
I think I'm leaning towards Preacher.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
It's so close, so tough. Like, but I think spreading the good word, this is advertising where it's all about communications and Preacher and like that positioning with like, spreading that. It's just so good to me.
yeah. And I just like I love when they tie it to who the agency is. It's
Yeah. And they're not a purpose-driven agency, right? They're,
No, no, they do work for like Foot Locker,
mhm.
a lot of brands. Yeah.
Okay, next one up is We Build First and Only Brands by GSD&M versus Troublemakers for a Better World by Convicts. Who do you got here, Brian?
I feel like this is a clear one. I think this is Convex.
Yep,
What do you think?
agreed. Okay, We Fight Invisibility by the Martin Agency versus Never Finished, but for FCB, I'm going to go We Fight Invisibility, Brian.
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that.
When the World Zigs Zag versus We Create Modern Legends. I
Ooh,
think I think
no,
I got a favorite here still.
I think we'll do the Zags. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just hard. It's just hard, you know. That's a
They're
classic.
one of the like iconic, like they're not saying anything that like an agency wouldn't say, right? Like,
Mhm.
go the other way, like questioning the unquestionable, right? Like, but like just the fact that like they made this such a like iconic line and like
Mhm.
still using it, literally like if you talk to anyone from BBH, like they're gonna mention zigging and zagging.
Yep.
Like they literally like are using the terminology still and all this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. We Make Good Work by A Company Creative versus Everything's an Experiment by
Ooh.
Chemistry. Well, what do you got here, Brian?
These are two of my favorites, like from the ones we've been reading.
Mhm.
I think I'm leaning towards a company creative. And the interesting part is like I don't even know them that well as an agency. Like I've seen them a few times, but I just love the double entendre, and it's like I just think like no one else is really doing that. When you look at it, and it's still clear to the agency. What do you think?
Okay. See, I would have picked Everything's an Experiment uh, by Chemistry. Like just that creative connection there. I really love. Um,
Well, what do you think? Like what do you Do we have a tiebreaker? Do we have a?
yeah, we can do. We can flip a coin.
You want to ask ChatGPT which line is better? Let's just have a ChatGPT podcast. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Heads is for We Make Good Work, and then tails is for Everything's an Experiment.
Fair. All right.
Flip a coin.
Heads.
Heads it is.
All right.
You got that one. All right, moving on. What We Do Is Nothing New by Standard. This is round 3, everybody. Hang in there with us. What We Do Is Nothing New, Standard Practice versus The Disruption Company by TBWA.
Ooh, I want to hear your thoughts on it because I think you seem to have strong opinions on both of these. So I'm curious what you think.
I think I've still got to go Standard Practice here. These are both pretty disruptive, but for a small agency, I feel like, I don't know, for this tagline and the name, that connection is just so clear to me. Standard Practice, nothing new, nothing to worry about here. We're going to do a good job. We're going to work with you all. We don't need to spin our wheels around a new, touting our capabilities. They're very comfortable with that.
Yeah, and what I will say, like the Disruption Company, like the ethos is there with TBWA. Like I think they go beyond the tagline, right? Obviously, and if we're reading just like on tagline, like I agree with you.
Just on tagline.
Yeah,
Just on tagline.
yeah, I agree with you. I think standard practice moves forward.
All right. Question the Unquestionable by Curiosity versus Spreading the Good Word.
Ooh,
In my standards, these are very close. Like,
these are very close.
Of the creative connection between the name and the tagline here.
I think I'm leaning towards Preacher.
Me too.
I'm leaning towards Preacher. These are both very strong, but I'm leaning towards Preacher.
Me too. All right. We're getting a better picture here now, Brian. Troublemakers for a Better World by Convicts or We Fight Invisibility by the Martin Agency. Both are kind of like it indicates like a strong vision.
Right.
For a better world, We Fight Invisibility. Both of these are big. But if you were a brand now, Brian.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards Martin.
Okay.
What do you think?
I was leaning towards Convicts, but I don't know. I'm just like kind of torn on these two.
These are strong. I think at the end of the day, like Martin's very clear what they're about with that line. And like no one's
But just the tagline.
Yeah, with that line, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look, Convicts that's a strong one,
Mm-hmm. I'm down to go Martin Agency on that. We Fight Invisibility.
I just think like no one's really saying like using the word invisibility. It's very like 3 words, but it says a lot.
boom, boom, boom. This is what we do. This is what we're about. We get it. I could just see from like a brand side, which I don't think we put in the parameters, like a brand marketer might not understand that right away or might not care. I don't know, but we'll progress. It'll progress. All right, we got BBH here closing out this round versus a company creative when the world zig zag. When the world zigs zag versus we make good work.
Does this how does this compete with the Zig line for you?
I'm leaning BBH on this,
Um,
but I don't feel that it's.
I would agree with that. I think that's fine to say.
We
Like
got both commas in here.
that's true.
It's a comma competition here.
Yeah, look, I think, the Zig line, it's like it says a lot. It tells you what they're like going for.
Mm-hmm.
I think like we make good work is I love that line, but I also like um, like they're a purpose agency, it fits who they are. I feel like BBH's is a little bolder, you know?
All right, I agree. All right, that concludes the third round here, Brian.
Okay.
We are in the semifinal. How many do we have left in here? This is the final four.
Final four.
All right, let's start off here now. What we do is nothing new by standard practice versus spreading the good word by preacher.
I think these are two of your favorites.
I love these two. I love these two.
Hmm.
I think you Brian, you got to do it. I can't do it, Brian.
It's hard. I mean, damn. Because they're both tying to the name too. Like they're both.
Yeah.
I think these are like very similar in how they're approaching it, but they're like saying different things.
I think I
Um,
might have to go preacher on it because it has spreading the good word. It also ties into advertising, communications,
yeah,
strategic brand communications, whatever you want to call it. The word is advertising.
yeah,
Uh, and like that to me gives it a little bit more clarity in the tagline.
yeah. I was gonna lean towards preacher as well.
Okay. Man, that should have been a championship right there. But
I think it should have been. Yeah.
okay, We Fight Invisibility by the Martin Agencies versus When the World Zigs Zag by BBH.
This is interesting because they're both, I think, trying to say that they're gonna have an approach that will make your brand unique, right? And
Mm,
um, I would lean towards BBH here.
I think so as well.
I didn't know BBH would make it this far, to be honest. This is interesting.
I know, I know. This is just how it's run. This is the championship round here, Brian. Any honorable mentions that we didn't bring up that come top of mind, like agencies that you're surprised about, maybe not seeing the strongest positioning or
Um,
the clearest tagline?
I think some agencies don't feel like they need it, or like, sometimes the tagline is the name itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think uncommon, and like they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't. We looked on their website. I don't think they had a tagline.
Yeah.
Um,
Uncommon. Like I love when the agency names kind of are the taglines, like you were saying. So uncommon, mischief, which is not on here. What are some other ones? Uh,
yeah, I know.
gut.
I know what you're saying. I think we're
Yeah.
we're in this world of agencies that like, oh, Bandits and Friends, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're in this world of agencies where like the name is becoming more and more of the like marketing for
Yeah.
the agency, whereas like in the past you would have like more name, like you would put your name on the agency, right? And it was a statement to put your name on there, right? So yeah, I think we're seeing agencies that don't need taglines exist. I think Bakery has a good one as well. We make things people want. I love things that are it's simple, but it's like like that's basically what advertising boils down to, right? like, um, but yeah, I think those would be the ones I'd be like honorable mention.
All right, Brian. So this is it. The final round, the championship here. We've got Spreading the Good Word by Preacher versus When the World Zigzag. Very famous classic line in advertising use. Sir John Haggerty, I believe, was the one that kind of coined that, or at least he was running the show when they did that. What are we thinking? We got old school versus new school. Who's
Yeah,
their
it's
champion?
interesting because it is two completely different types of agencies and legacies.
Mm-hmm.
Preacher is still building theirs. Um, you know, as I'm looking at it, right? Like I'm thinking about like um how unique is it, right? I think that's a big thing with these taglines. I think these are two of the more unique ones on the list. If I had to go with one, I think I'm going preacher.
Me too, Brian.
I
Me
think
too.
preacher. I think at the end of the day, like you, like what you said, like it is about advertising, and
Hmm.
they're both, very advertising focused. But like the tie into the name, you understand what it is. I also like this. It feels like not aggressive. Like a lot of like taglines are a little more aggressive, or they're trying to make a statement. I think
Hmm.
they're like telling you what the agency's about, tying it to the name, but they're also like not taking themselves too seriously, like or like
Yeah,
whatever. And it's just clean from a writing perspective too.
all of it.
You know?
Spreading the good word, and it can lean into purpose, can lean into quality of good. Um, that's the winner, Brian. I think this is pretty good. I think this is a really, really good bracket. It was randomly selected. We went, we try to eliminate our bias and our knowledge around these agencies in general.
Right.
But I'm happy with this.
Are
So
you? How do you feel? Like, are there any? Are there any? Now that we did the whole thing, are there
yeah,
any that like you think would compete with that preacher, like outside of BBH, that would compete with this?
I think, I think, um, I think the only one. No, I think that might be the best one, Brian.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
really do. Now that we kind of talked it through, maybe like maybe standard practice because I just like how dry and straightforward it is. But I think if they were in the championship together, I'm still picking spreading the good word.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe convicts would be close, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you. I think preacher is a clear winner here. Yeah.
Maybe no gut, no glory could have been up there too.
Yeah. That's the hard part about brackets. It's like it is about the matchup too.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I agree. I'm happy with that pick. I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, and I believe like their design, like now that we can go a little bit deeper and like their branding, their whole positioning, everything they do, like they do their office, it's so clean. Like their own merch and stuff. They have like a gallery and like a merch store. So I think the larger positioning is also really, really strong. The tagline itself, I think, is really strong too. Spreading the good word. It's really fun. So Brian, that's the show. That is our March Adness Agency Tagline Tournament. Congrats to Preacher. Shout out to Seth Gaffney, Kellen Blount. Who else works there, Brian? I think those are the two off the top of my head.
Those are the two. Yeah. Those are the folks I know. And yeah, no, I think they're a solid agency, and they're doing big things. So uh,
They
they're just
can call us up to get there to come on the show. We'll do a little talk about with them. But
yeah,
we gotta reach out to them. You're cordially invited to Breaking with Brian here, and we can talk about the how it came to life, the
yeah,
vision, what's next. I believe they have an Amsterdam office now, Brian.
yeah.
So
Maybe let's send them like a break and entering basketball or something. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, a crowbar. And I will say, I think uh, pull off your ultimate heist is a pretty damn good tagline
Mm,
by breaking entering media,
yeah,
breaking and entering
ooh,
heist.
self plug here.
I'm very proud of that because I that was a 22-year-old uh, college student that came up with it in his parents' basement in the pandemic, where he was drinking quite a bit and trying to survive a global catastrophe. That's got some legs.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. No, that's a good one. Did you when you come up with that, like were you thinking about other agencies when you were thinking about it?
I was thinking strictly about the product and what this is going to shape up to. And somebody said to me, why does getting a job in advertising feel like you're pulling off a grand heist?
Mm,
So that's where the name came from, like from those conversations. I called up a bunch of people, the target audience, and
mm.
then like I was going to do these play off of like advice and like, ad in the name and stuff like that. And then that insight came in, and then the name breaking and entering was formed.
Yeah. No,
So
it's solid. It's solid. We could put yours up there. Let's do a podcast network bracket next or something.
hell yeah. Does Ad Age have a tagline?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll follow up.
I'll follow up with my bosses on that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's
Feeling
awesome.
good?
Yeah, yeah,
Cool. All right, we'll get this up soon, Brian. That concludes it. Nice job again. Thanks for taking the time.
yeah. This is awesome.
Cool.
I enjoyed.